he who cares least will always win in a negotiation, right? The person who's willing to walk away from the deal because they don't need it has more power. Now, so obviously you've learned a lot of negotiation in your lifetime. Is that more, are you a student? Is there books that you like that you've read? Or is it from your learning things in life and just your life experience?
Welcome to Stop Whining About Real Estate. Join us as we chat, sip, banter, and wine with the best in the biz. Grab a glass of your favorite vino, sit back, relax, and let's wine together.
Welcome to the show, Stop Whining About Real Estate. Today we have myself, our host, Sarah Birnbaum, my co-host, Manuel St. Germain, and our very special guest, Jeff Creegan. He is a top producing agent at Compass. He's also the founder and principal of the Creegan Team. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you.
Absolutely. So we touched a little bit on the fact that you were in, obviously, hospitality. I think all of us were. And I think the one thing that I will say that hospitality gave me that has helped in every aspect of my life, including and especially in work, is how hospitality really makes you well-rounded. You learn how to talk to people. You learn how to be confident. You learn how to deal with all kinds of different situations. You can pivot pretty quickly and change directions. And I think it gives you have to have a little bit of grit and a little bit of, you got to be able to take seat, really trying to pull yourself up when things are not going your way and keep going. So now that you are a high producing agent and, your day-to-day probably looks a little bit different than it did behind the bar, how did you go from bartending, serving into real estate, and how has it kind of helped you?
So, bartended all over the avenue and some fine dining restaurants down south in Fort Lauderdale. Cafe Moderno probably was the most notorious one I worked at. And
Love their general sound.
oh yeah, amazing food, amazing, the best. Shout out Steve.
Yep.
And then I was on and off in El Camino, downtown Delray. So fast paced, quick cocktails, but I was in the craft cocktail scene. I had a long beard, kind of hipster for a while. I created cocktail menus. I did that on speakeasies. And that was a fun scene. I was in competitions, but it didn't really, give me a head of life. It was in my 20s. My life was a mess. I could go on and on about that. Many more stories for sure. But, I got my act together and I was bartending at Louis Palsy. And the story is I was there and I just got 1 year sober and I saw these rich people there. And I was a miserable sober bartender. So just picture that. Doesn't get much worse than that. Summer bartender, and I deal with all these really rich people in these focus town. I'm like, these people aren't that smart. They're not anything special. Why, what's up? And then so I'm thinking, okay, I can sell. I've sold a lot of things in my life. You put your imagination to the test on that. And I was just like, let's sell something big. You sell something big. And so I was like, not much bigger than the house. So I got my real estate license. I was working at Louis Palsy, and then I ended up transferring back to El Camino. After being fired from El Camino, they let me back. And I started selling real estate 2019, right before the boom. And so my first home in April 2019. And since then, me and my team, I've sold over around 120 million in real estate. My team sold over 200 million. We've helped over 300 people pass real estate transactions since 2019. So a lot of that's luck, I would say, with the timing. If I maybe got in a little late, it would have had momentum. I got too early, might have got frustrated, but I started selling real estate immediately, did about one deal a month my first year. So, yeah.
It played a big part in any business. Sure. But there's, we all need a little, although at the same time, they say as an entrepreneur, as an owner, like luck is really just being prepared and, having an open mind and open heart to the opportunities that come across your way. And it's what you do with it at that point. It's how you receive it. It's how you pay it forward. It's whatever you do about it. Next thing you can really tackle something. Let's talk about starting a new industry, because I know a lot of people who started in the service industry. My buddy Kurt Lehman, so many of the people that he would hire were part-time bartender. And I love the customers. So the one piece for me that I don't know if I heard you guys say, one of the biggest things that I like at coming from the service industry that you do know you do understand customer service. And customer service for me is what we relate is as one of our core values being that the client experience. And you gotta read, I got a great book. By the way, you ever want to read an awesome, right? Man, it's not my brain. Read Mr. Schnood's. It will teach everything you know about creating such an awesome experience for your clients.
Yeah.
Because your business, like my side tries to make client experience as best as possible. It is more transactional. On your side, like the more that you can really be remembered, the more that you're going to continue getting referrals and have these repeat buyers, and referrals and stuff in general. But anyways, it's a great book.
Somehow. Like, so about more or less, I didn't say Senate is
It's a story about it's his name Bob.
It's just a high-powered executive. He's very high up in the business world. He hires an assistant. He's teaching his assistant how to basically build relationships and make an impression on everybody that they work with. And so it's
Network.
teaching the assistant really how to leave a mark. People will remember him. They always want to come back. They always want to include them. They always want to use them as everything that they do because they make them feel so amazing in the process.
so. It's supposed to be the hints of it, and like it's different. Whole thing stories.
Also, equals to it. So if you're driving around, you can just throw it on and you can get a chapter in here and there, and it's very exclusive.
Show it like what it's like. I don't know, influence and influence people.
Sort of the modern day.
But modern day, yes,
Just that book was written, I think, in the 30s.
a long time ago. But what's your best lesson you remember from that book? How to influence and influence people. You remember that book?
I do. I read it a long time ago.
Remember the book, Sitter?
Yeah, the stuff. I had a hard time getting through it.
Oh, you didn't like that, though, sir.
I didn't love it.
That was the best lesson I remember from it.
Repeating or something.
Reading the name. Names. People like the other name.
Yeah, but where else that's raised.
And
In FDR, when he wrote his autobiography, he said the reason why he remembered names, which is something that you need to do because you always tell me need to whisper names in your ear.
It's not. I say it all the time.
What if somebody introduces themselves? You speak each Jeff. One more thing with Jeff, and then
that is good behind the bar. I remember I'd get the name, I plug in the system, and I keep saying the name. I'm like, so go up.
See, I'm a visual person, so that's like so from the VAR standpoint. Like if I typed in the name, that would be the equivalent to me saying it 50 times. But shouldn't I adapt? I see it. It's plugged in. Much rather you meet somebody shaking hand on bar, bro. Like okay, great. Next thing you start to like, wait, was who we tried again? Like that's where I definitely well, this is where you need to start to like that stuff. So like I love the idea of like these. I don't like it because I feel it's so fake and not real. But
the headpiece, the secret little earpiece.
yes, don't just think like a politician. You think a politician that's walking in and like somebody's telling them like, okay,
Someone so they're married to so and they live in so.
you met his wife and you did like the you met their kid or dated her. So better give me.
Yeah.
It is. It's forget. What you'll love about the book, Mr. Schmidt, is that it's the level of planning and attention to detail. So like
And everything is very intentional.
it's so beyond. Like you want to host a golf charity tournament, okay, and everything that you can think of, you put on this list, and you're going to get 60%, and he's going to go and double it. And it's the experience for everyone. He's like, what else could we do? How else can we it's constantly pushing you. All right. And like, it's little examples. Like I remember listening to someone talk about talk shows. And they were saying that the difference when you go on Oprah versus every other talk show is Oprah would pick you up in a limo. And the difference is she would send you back in a limo. Whereas a lot of the other shows would pick you up in a limo. They're like, all right, thanks for coming. Bye, Grant. Like they would forget about the client experience, the ending. It's the equivalent to a realtor being amazing in the beginning. And, at the very end, they're like, give me my check. Where's my check? Like, forgetting that, like, that's going to happen. You don't have to say that. You don't have to be there. Like, I've done transactions where people are closing, it should say, where people eat like a transaction instead of out on the brain like, well, not just that. Like,
It's tough when you get rolling in the business not to look at everything as numbers. But it's a challenge. So I 100% agree on you. In the beginning, it's like, oh, every closing, because there's this sin, this kept and this and that. And then it's like such, also important. And after, what do you turn into? Robot. You turn into a robot. That's what happens in the business.
Trust me, I got it. It's happened to me too. And there's a piece of it where you go back to it, and then so you have to. So for me, part of it is redefining what our core values were, and then when we did that, it's really easy to make decisions based on those core values. Hey, how could we have improved in our loan process? And a big part of it, really, another area where it's really succeed for a relationship in the way the big model that we have is Sarah. Uh, you and I could be boys, we could be buddies. It's gonna it's your better payment to be able to run that sort of our something like instant not really happen involves then where you're going to say because it's marginal. If we really royally do something wrong, it must look you should that you're gonna call me out on. But something that's marginal, right? Something that if I did that could have improved the transaction, the relationship, the experience by 10 to 15%, there's a good chance you're not going to call me out on it because you're just man to man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Having a Sarah in there where Sarah's job is to be the relationship with you, with other agents, so that I can do what I do and not have to worry as much about the relationship. I'm just here to perform what I'm really good at. And then she goes, hey, Emmanuel, Jeff said the transaction went great, but you might talk to her better than you would to me. And all of a sudden, Sarah would go, what could we have done better in that transaction to make it a 10 if you're grading it an 8.5? And then Sarah comes back to me, and now it's like, all right, one, the transaction's over. Sarah, like, the Sigma 6 or Six Sigma, whatever, however you say it. But then the idea is that we do want to constantly improve. We do want to constantly provide a great client experience. And so she can say, hey, all right, I know. And she did. She called me out one time on, of course, that happens more than once, but in my mind, there's a particular example where I get busy sometimes, right? And I've got lots of different things going on because I'm not just a loan officer. And so Sarah said, hey, can you do me a favor? She's like, yeah, when you take a phone call from an agent or a client, can you grab those little, because so when I'm talking on the phone, I had two golf balls that I kind of like I tossed around in my hand. She's like, can you grab those or spin around the chair, put your head on, yeah, put your loan officer hat on for a second, stand up, like get out of whatever you were doing if you're going to answer the phone and be present on that call.
Because the problem was is I know him. If he's in computer mode and he's in the middle of doing something, and he answers a phone call, and you've got a person on there that's asking questions about a loan. He doesn't have sales hat on. I'm in mode, and he's like answering the questions, and it may not sound as that he's super interested or being very patient. So I said, turn your chair around, stop away at the computer screen, stare outside, pace, do something, get up, but distract yourself to where you're focused on the phone and you're not still trying to do whatever you were on the computer. So the person on the phone feels like you're really there with them, that you're patient, that you're listening, and that you're, understanding what it is. Then hang out the phone and go back to whatever you're doing.
Which is James.
For sure.
Because
But tough, yeah, but tough. It's challenges, ADHD, movement,
It's just, money is distracted from what you're doing, and you're like, oh, this is annoying, but they feel that.
But if it was a $10 million deal, to have them loan, you would probably
Get on those walls.
step.
you don't even know. Well, so when you're answering the phone, you don't know what the deal is. So it was more just about like the point of the story for me is that in terms of and what you found that I would become more successful. Yes, it is more of a business. Yes, you do how you handle things differently because you are now responsible for not just the client in front of you. You've got other people, you've got other teammates, you have other issues. People call you with all the problems for everyone that's on your team, any issues. You've got other brokers who upset at you for this or whatever whatever it is, it's a negotiation between two realtors. So that, sometimes some people aren't pleasant. So you're dealing with, and I'm speaking on his behalf, you're dealing with lots of other stuff. And it's the same thing now. All of a sudden, someone calls you and like you just got off the phone with an asshole. And so, like, try to not carry that over to the next conversation is not always easy.
So that's love projection. Projection, persuasion, projection. So fascinating.
For me, it was nice to hear, and she did it in a very nice way, in a way that wasn't attacking me. But I also understand because, first of all, I'm human, and I understand that I'm not going to be perfect. I understand I'm going to make mistakes, but I want to get better. Yeah, I care about getting better. I don't want anyone to ever have a bad experience. And if I came across a certain way on the phone, I'm sorry, 'cause that's not what I want. It wasn't my friend.
So what I'm trying to do is do less is more now. That's my style. That's my style. Like you, I don't just sell real estate, if that was my goal, but then I invest in real estate to run more business with that. So I'm trying to eliminate stuff and just try to focus in. So I don't have more of that other stuff. I just want to produce, don't sell real estate, produce, do more of that. Because ultimately, the less time and headaches I got to deal with my other real estate and investments, because, that's long term. I want to do less of that. I'll just focus on producing sale. That's what I'm doing right now.
How's the market right now treating you?
Market, I mean,
Today's market, summer 2025.
it's a good opportunity for people who are on the come up. It's a good opportunity. I'm picking up listings, second and third listings of other agents that are luxury listings. I just signed up 4.6. Just got started new. Yes, I'm the third agent on that, or second agent on that. So just opportunities to show my value and do that. That's what I'm getting.
When you pick up, so they're expired, whatever happened, the agent didn't do a good job and they decided to let go of their listing agreement. When you come into something like that, because I'm seeing a lot of expired and listing agents are just kind of letting things go because they're not moving the property and they're getting frustrated. When you come in, what's the approach that you're like, I'm going to come in, I'm gonna win this, and I'm also gonna make this successful. Like, what is your approach to making sure that you're doing it?
So, I mean, obviously, what I do is different, and then compared to other people. I mean, I know that I'm a lot of social media based. I have a lot of followers, not only on social media, but also other reputable agents who have, you know, and they follow me, and so I try to blow that up immediately to give more exposure to it. So it's one thing I know that a lot of other agents, especially baby boomers and older agents who might have it, they're not doing that. Uh, and then I'm with Compass. Compass is number one in Boca Raton. So just that, just bring attention to the other Compass agents, right? Because, that's 400 agents too who have buyers or top agents. So those two things coupled, just bring attention to that. And then obviously you want to typically get the price down. That's usually number one, if the price wasn't selling at that, we're going to lower the price. And then you want to, just expand on the marketing. You want to do, if they didn't do a video, you would just do a new video. You want to do social media on that. And you want to bring a better exposure, maybe different camera angles in the photos to upload it. There's little like algorithms tricks with Zillow and everything that you could try to do to get the views up on, on Zillow, etc. But also, one thing that going back to what we were saying, you want to provide better service.
Yeah.
So, we're open with clients now, and we're giving feedback immediately. As soon as after a showing, I'm getting in the car, I'm giving them feedback. So, when the listing goes stale for an agent, they kind of write it off themselves. It happens,
Yeah.
So you want to revamp the listing right now. So, and then ultimately stay positive. Stay positive, because if I think this album's not going to sell, it's not going to sell. So I'm just keeping it positive in the marketing right now.
Let's go to the price cut thing. These are five. So what else? The part I'm interested in is the psychology behind your approach to going to a seller and explaining that, what they have listed at 3.2 million is the wrong number because, or whatever, 500,000, whatever the number is. What in general is your approach when you do that?
I mean, it's just, most time it's just straight data. Or I could go back. The listing was 6 months ago. It was in the beginning of 2020.
Also easier to someone else has already failed.
Yeah, for sure. If it was in 2025, the other agent had it in January 2025, they were going to have a comps in 2024 with the prices. There was a X amount that was there. Now I run it, okay, 2025, 6 months. There has been no sale to validate that price. Here we go. This is the next 6 months of comps that we got to look at. All right. So that's the comps are lower. Typically, not on every market. I explained this to everybody in real estate. I went to Manhattan. I was condo shopping in Manhattan last year. I was ambitious. I was looking for someone out in my life. And even during COVID, Manhattan condos in the right place, in the right building, they never lost value. And that's just real estate in general. There's not one size fits all. This neighborhood, this street, real estate's so niche specific. One street might never lose value and continue to pump, and another one might lose. So you just can't generalize everything when you're speaking to a seller. And ultimately, I want to keep them positive about the outlook on the listing. You want to be realistic, but you want to show them that there's a chance that we're going to get a price, but then you got to be realistic on the price you're going to get. And so that New York, no, I'm born in Newark, Delaware, raised in Boyd Beach, Caitlin Jug. Yeah, you're referring it. Wow.
It's two of us.
Yeah. Where? Who's the other one? You?
Me.
Where did you go to high school?
I lived in Hollywood, so I went to Chaminade.
Yeah. Or Augusta. Augusta.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah. I think one thing though that stands out is I think you have the confidence with the education and the knowledge of the market, but also in yourself to have those conversations with the sellers. And I think a lot of agents maybe shy away from having what they may consider more difficult conversations with the seller, kind of going up against them a little bit and saying, hey, listen, I know you really had your heart set on this price, but based on this knowledge, information, my expertise, this is where I think we should probably be priced. And I think that sometimes makes a difference and they get defeated or feel like they can't and just kind of let it go and hope for the best. But that's then they hope that somebody will come by it at that price. They don't really want to have that conversation. And then when it expires, they're like, well, it wasn't meant to be and I'm not going to sell it anyway. Whereas you're like, this is not what we're going to do. Let's have a real conversation about this. I'm on your team, but let's work this out together. Here's the data to back it up. Here's my expertise that I'm helping you with. Let's do it this way.
Yeah, 100%. Here's the data, and then also let's be realistic. I just did it today. For example, I have a listing. We're in the negotiations right now. I'm the second agent on it right now, and he's had one other offer before. I just got him an offer quickly, and I'm like, okay, Mr. Seller, you've had X amount of offers, right? This is what the value of the home is what somebody's willing to pay for it. And what you're willing to sell it at. Your price is not what everybody wants to pay. So at this point, and then what I do is then I use a real psychology. Then I say, listen, I want to work with real sellers here. And then I try to pull away from them. Take away. I take it away from them. I want real sellers. Yes, I pull that away from them, and then boom. So now he's coming down on this price again because he realizes maybe I'm not a real seller. That he's got to ask himself that.
Yeah.
And so I'm in the thick of it right now. I'm only like 20,000 miles apart right now. But yeah, it's just your prices. Where do you come up with this? And then I got to go against Zillow. Then I got to go to Redfin. I got to go the and down the street. All this stuff. And I'm like, I'm on the other side of the play. Here's what you're willing to pay. So listen, I mean, in this market, it's something's laboring. If I'm the second agent, you got to take the money and run.
So the negotiation piece, right? So what you're doing there, you're referring to is a big, like what I always said is, he who cares least will always win in a negotiation, right? The person who's willing to walk away from the deal because they don't need it has more power. Now, so obviously you've learned a lot of negotiation in your lifetime. Is that more, are you a student? Is there books that you like that you've read? Or is it from your learning things in life and your life experience?
or, you know, at most the negotiation was almost not negotiations. It's almost prospecting, right? So if I'm getting with somebody, I want to know if they're real, it's what we call a suspect or a prospect. But I want to see, like, I want to see immediately, like, you know, if you're on the fence about me selling your home, I mean, that's the first sale. Now you didn't talk about the deal. If you're on the fence, I want to work for Bill Telly. But even for Montana, the one we're down the sale things. At the end of the day, you know, I'm real estate advisor, global advisor, advocate for real estate. No, we're sales. I mean, this is what it is. Greco down sales training, on board already team. And then the guy now, Jeffrey Combs, he's my new coach. Amazing stuff. Who else have I done? I mean, so many books. That was different. Everyone knows that book. Love that. I met him at a shit. All these shit. My Indian school guy. Got met her done that. Close. It's Chris Voss. And then this is, yeah, Chris Voss. I met him down there. And then old school, I was in her phone room in Boca 2015. I started reading Zig Ziglar. Old school, real old school stuff. And that's, you know, that
Jeremy Minor is.
I know of him. I don't ever, like, I never followed him. But yeah, no, I never split the difference. And then, you know, Zig Ziglar, because the people don't know what they get, and this is sales 101. Price and value are totally different things, like, you know. And it's like everything you buy, you know, you like, I like nice stuff. I want nice stuff. I'm gonna spend a lot more on my belt. It's Louis Vuitton, and it's like, okay, the brand name, but my belt's lasting me 2 years because it's quality, right? So that's the value you get with the price that you pay. So, and just teaching everybody that, like, yeah, obviously, I don't discount my commissions, and or I really don't discount them much. I make maybe seem like a discount it, but you want to show why the value, right?
What so because one of the things too, and you know, Sarah, you do both. Most of my selling is typically done over the phone. There's really not a lot of sales.
It's that's fun. In person's the best. It's more fun.
When you repeat people, so you the front minute, yeah, more distraction, but the ability to read somebody's body language, you can see their eyes when you're like, maybe I should slow down. You know, like, you know how to. You can change your tonality. You can go overall. You know, like
You feel them too. You can make you feel energy. Feel it.
She's on a phone call and it's fine. And you're like, ooh, that doesn't mean it's wrong, but I don't really know how to attack this right now. If you're sitting in front for probably saw a little quicker.
you know, but it's the negotiation piece. I think I love what you're doing in terms of how you're doing your yeah, I'm gonna call it a takeaway, but I love the prospect. So it was a book that I actually just read, and I'll think of it as soon as I stop talking. But it was essentially you know what it is? It's actually it's Christopher Voss's book. The second book went about the full fee agent.
Okay.
Read that one. So he does a small part of it, but it's the other guy was a big time realtor of some sort. It's credited in the book, and that's what he says. He literally goes through exactly what you just said. I knew I couldn't think of it. It's full fee agents, the name of the book, and the whole concept is exactly what you said about don't waste your time.
Don't waste your time.
So like, if you're asking, I'm not going to go through all these different people and try and cut my commission in half. Like, let me find out. And he goes and he specifically talks about agents, and he's talking about when you go on a listing presentation, and did you really have a sales opportunity, or was this simply a second person that, you know, your spouse needed the due diligence, but they had already made up their mind. They were never picking you from the get-go. Right. And there was it was just like something we need to have like like, was this a real person? Not only is it a real seller, but do I have a real opportunity of earning this potential listing? Read that book. Is it so you said that
On the fails. They're talking about selling, talking about it, and you talk about buying something. How many people do you know have been talking about buying a home? for forever and ever. And they get high on that. That's the payoff. Like, say, oh, I'm thinking about it, Jeff. What do you think? I'm calling you up. What do you think? They just shoot you, just use you and stuff like that. So, getting down to the nitty gritty and like you said, don't waste time. Don't waste time with it. And yeah, keep it moving because the energy and the
First of all is that you can filter the noise between someone who is, let's talk versus, like, let's actually look at analysis, take action. I think
I don't know. I mean,
is it a vibe that you get? Do you have a lot of questioning that you give someone?
it's funny because in my business, I haven't, and then none of the say, like the market's a buyer right now. I don't have I actually have a lot of buyer, unfortunately. I have over 20 listings and tons of inventory to sell, and we're selling a lot right now. But I realized that a real buyer might not want to be with me because, oh no, a buyer might not want to be with me because I'll slam them in the home. I'll find them a home, and they might not be ready to have a home because they're just such. I've had buyers in this year that had lost deals, that gone out of contract, lost escrow because they weren't real buyers, and they were like they wanted to pet off. They wanted to talk about buying the home.
Yeah.
And which needs to say where does it go right. Sees good about unfortunately, but they just talking about buying a home and being in that mix, but they really weren't. They weren't really doing it. So it's like I don't know how I'm attracting those clients right now. I'm attracting people who need to sell a home. That's what I want. I want people who want to sell a home, want to price her up a home, and are able to take offers that work for them right now.
I think part of it, and it appears it's a shameless plug for us, but I think that part of what happens with when for a lot of those reasons is also people don't realize what a jumbo mortgage is going to look like at 6.5%. And why for a $3 million house in Delray, it's going to be a $45,000 tax. And all of a sudden they go, whoa, like, thought it was going to be like 10,000 a month. We're like, no, it could be a little higher, especially that tax bill. And your homeowner's insurance is probably going to be 12,000 into your limit. Like, like there are certain areas and certain things, and people all of a sudden go, this is a little maybe now is not the time.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
And my $300,000 a year job, which sounds like you make money, really isn't in terms of when you're talking about certain neighborhoods and things of that nature.
Whole real estate is very extremely challenging. At one point, I had 7 properties, 4 doors, 3 single family homes. Now I have 6, 2 single families, 4 properties. It's and these are all East 95, no HOAs, built in the 70s. Great. It's not easy to maintain these real estate, right? One, not only that, $40,000 I just throw away the taxes each year in all my real estate, but electric bills, maintenance bills, etc. Some people they're not ready to handle that, and I respect that. To be in the neighborhoods and prestigious spots, you got to know what you're getting yourself into when you're doing this. All right.
Well, especially in the investment. So do you see a lot of let's go to the investment side. Do you see a lot of demand for investment properties? Because what I notice is that the math is really hard to make sure or bill. Like how about condo? I don't even know where it is, Brentwood or something.
Any context.
Let's. It's you pay a fee for it, but I've seen the property once, and it's also because I have a 3.8 interest rate that the math is fantastic for sure. But if I were getting a 7.5% interest rate on the investment property, like it's not so great anymore. Not when you add these HOAs. Even my town, do you know where I live? I live in Canada. So even our house is it's like 400. It's up like $900 a month in stupid HOA tunes. Who did you buy? I'm like, what do I get? I bought a road. Yeah, I bought it in I'm in Leander, so I bought it in 14.
Okay, nice. I bought a brand new.
I
guys. Never give them traded that and thing you didn't.
What? I started a mortgage company in June of 22, and it's not exactly the best time to start a mortgage company. So a lot of
Oh, Lon, you just hit before Like not just that you were a loan officer before.
So yeah, so I started as a loan officer, then I went to a branch manager, then became COO or previous company, and then we all came to this company.
I think everyone would do the spot. You were.
This retired stairs that dollar for being like,
I want to talk a little bit about your team.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So you started as a single agent.
Yeah.
And then what made you decide that you wanted a team? And then how far in were you?
I've had teams on and off since I, got licensed. I met people working at the common and golf.
Right away.
Yeah, immediately, probably within. Real estate's a funny business. Real estate's a funny business. You could just kind of, start selling and you just track people. Man, who doesn't want to start selling real estate? It's an amazing job. It's very dope. So I've had people come in at, I was bartending at El Camino, and I was bartending there, and I had Raiders on my team, and we were selling real estate on, before, after shifts. So immediately I've had all types of people. Probably, I think about it, probably like at least 10 to 12 people. And most of the people aren't in the industry anymore. They couldn't cut it or something happened in the letter. And then now what I got is I still have some newer people coming, more selective. I've had to do, once again, less is more is my motto now. I'm trying to hone it in, not to overextend myself. I tend to do that, overextend myself a bit. But yeah, my team, you need to leverage. You need to leverage yourself. If you have X amount of listings, and then every seller wants you to run open house on a Saturday afternoon, there's only one meeting. So I got, load up my team, and then I would see showings when it gets busy. I can only do so many people. Luckily for me, I'm a tri-county guy, almost 3 counties, actually, 4 counties. I'm sorry, Martin County had deep business side, but listing Brickell. I've done business in Martin County, Broward County, Palm County. So just kind of all over the place with it. So just got scaling that and expanding. So with my team has helped me. And
you look for an agents for your team.
I look when people want to show up. That's half the battle, just showing up every day and making it your priority. That's really, it's my ski.
On new agents?
I do take on new agents. That's very specific. Obviously, I think, in this industry, if you're brand new, you need a database. You need to be a connector. You need to have some niche. Yes, that's what it is.
But it's not that available.
Yeah, something in South Florida, or you got to be in the right place, the right neighborhood that we can, hone in on. So, that or, energy. You gotta have a lot of energy right now and ambition, So those are what I look for. I go one size fits all. Not saying I'm not really trying to expand my team. I'm trying to get my systems down, get those done right, and just improve. Like you said, always improving the service and the systems. But it's a tough business because, I can do everything right. I can do everything right and have the showing set up perfectly. And then that agent who's showing, my listing shows up half hour, 45 minutes late. My seller is not pissed. Got his head left at home with it in your thing. Yeah, so it's like, got to breathe, release, and let go.
I hear a lot about the, no, but think about that like this. There's a lot, I think 40 people are late. So South Florida in general has a real lack of respect, and anyone hooks you out. But, listen, it's also very different over there. All right. So let's say if we have a dinner reservation in Miami at 7:30. All right. We gotta leave by 5. You just do the later you leave, the better chance you're going to have to be on time. But there's so much traffic here that I think we've all kind of accepted that being within a certain amount of time is acceptable.
Really, it can actually is out. Well, some bulk is tough. It's
Size looks melting pot. And I think a lot of people just live in a world where punctuality is not the.
All right. But where I was going with all that, it must, I don't have a ton of patience for certain things, and punctuality is one of them. And I would struggle with
Waiting on somebody who's me.
loosest of a buyer's agent And then, like you're there on a Saturday, instead of being with your family, instead of doing whatever activities you want, I meant to call you. My buyers canceled, their flight canceled last night. I was like, just the the lack of professionalism. Like, hey, total Phil, Jeff, my buyer and I are running 15 minutes late. Send you a text. Okay, cool. Like, I don't have a problem. Not saying thing. You would be late today, and you would text me like, no big deal, right?
Emergency agent Miami. Oh, I just no. It's up here. I mean, but
You obviously can't stack appointments. You've got to basically give yourself a huge window in order to accommodate.
You set the mercy of everybody else.
I would not do something like that. I'm a control person with my, like, in that narrative. Like, that's just what works when it's like.
but
If it's not we're going to be real, they're listing agent.
no, I mean, you gotta sometimes you gotta bitch them out. Just gotta bitch them out.
Let them know.
Yeah, you just go.
Know what's up.
Obviously, but that's okay in the long run. Those people phase out. Right. I mean, how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? If you could show it. Oh, granted, things happen, but yeah, no, I mean that half hour late, no calls, no shows.
Is that the worst part? So, since the name of the show, we haven't done this in a while. Since the name of the show is Stop Whining About Real Estate. One of the things most people have you give us one wine about real estate. That one wine.
Like one of your biggest pet peeves.
It's one that I'm doing right now. So I got an agent. He's down in Miami. We're doing a rental, size rental, 6-7K, and whatever it's all listing. And the guy, and it's his client. And it's like some family member. Like this kid's young. It's a Gen Z guy. The agent is a Gen Z. I'm a millennial, but he wants us to literally like, oh, we showed it. He showed it one time. We met him. We did a deal. Now he wants us to service his client. And like his client wants to come and take measurements of the home. And he wants us, yeah, exactly. Simple stuff. All good. Once again, his service, his client, he wants us to go accommodate his client to show this client that I don't hit without doing it bad day from the properties did.
Chilling instead.
Oh, all types of stuff, all types of stuff. But he literally, he's putting the classic guilt trip. He's guilt tripping me, like, holding good listed, and then, trying to judge me. I'm like,
No.
not happening, right? So, yeah, and then, so they have this, now what I do, whenever this happens now, there's a service, right? Where you could just take someone to go to your home. So I just text it to them, everyone now. Just texting, look,
Don't even respond.
respond, they want me to just last second, go show my home, wherever it is. I just text them this, and that works because they hired this woman who shows home for a living. She's a licensed agent. They pay her $50, and
They should have, yeah, it's an Uber. There's like an Uber type service for this, Tim.
well, that's what I need. And so I just text them this. So that's what happened. Yeah, they want you to show them their client, that you're listing, and so they don't.
Do you want to share the commission?
Yeah, no, with that, tell you to share. Like, I'll give you a referral. I'll give you a referral fee to just meet your buyer, right? At that point, so that happens, that gotta suck it up. To have a buyer, you gotta do what you gotta do. No, that deal feels big. I'll do whatever I gotta do to make that thing happen.
Yeah. So it's been a little while since we heard you wanted.
I don't have any ones.
You got no wants?
I would say that the biggest kind of pet peeve that I have is
It doesn't have to be a pet peeve, by the way. Like, you're using that word, but it could be a challenge. It could be a
I think a challenge that I run into occasionally is that everybody has a different style of doing business. And
you're speaking word relative to, we're talking about realtors.
realtors or even law officers, everybody.
Fair enough. True.
Everybody has their own style of doing business. And I think, my job is to go out and meet people and build a relationship and build some trust and build some likability. And I can assimilate to that person and kind of make that work for the two of us. And then that person is going to be working with a loan officer. And so that agent's personality now is theirs, and the loan officer that I pair them with is theirs. And sometimes there's a
Hope it works.
a miscommunication of the way that they understand each other or the vibe or the personality differences. And so kind of really gauging through that. Because an agent might be one way with me and it's real easy for us to get along. And, I find them to be very enjoyable and we can easily talk and we're comfortable with each other. And be very open and honest. And then there's a different kind of rapport that's built elsewhere. And then, I have to navigate it kind of through that. And the, the beautiful part of it is I usually end up getting to know everybody pretty well. So I can have an honest conversation, be like, hey, Jeff, what's going on? Tell me what's bothering you so I can get to the bottom of it, so I can help it, so I can make sure that the transaction and everything goes seamless. But also, oh, yeah, come back and work with me. So let's think about what's going to happen next time. And I think that that's one thing that in the 5 years that I've been doing this, I've really kind of taken I've spent a lot of energy in how to get involved in that so I don't just lose the business or go, I don't really want to have that conversation because it's uncomfortable. I'd rather get in it and deal with it and work through it. One, typically you learn a lot about a person and there's a bond that's created because now they trust you and they know that you got their back and you guys can kind of work through things together and you create a real sense of loyalty and relationship in that space. But I think that, just managing different personalities, expectations, and, handing people off because that's what I do. And just really understanding how to be present and get through the process between when it's not the
But that's the name of the game, man. People are checking us. It's the name of the game is managing people, like you get successful. Like,
and as a team lead, do it with your team and you do it with your clients.
oh, there's more than that. It's clients, it's the vendor, the director, the trader, people, I literally on a week, they up there. Yeah. So, just making sure everything goes through with managing all that, the expectations, but that's cool. And then to keep doing it. And what's really cool in the business when you get to, so my first home I ever sold, what is April 2019? That is, what was that, 6 years ago? And 2019, their home's back on the market now. So that shows like from my first to my last with you right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that was what do you communicate to your database? So it's one of the biggest things that all salespeople do is that they don't understand the pot of gold that they have is their actual database.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, keep in touch with your past clients. Sure. I have we have a list. I try to call them whenever I can. I tell Christmas, I tell Christmas parties. And I throw similar parties and you try to invite everybody at least to that, a little shindig and just checking in with people. And I ask for referrals. I ask for business. I'm not afraid. I mean, that's number one. You ask business. As anyone. So I teach everyone in real estate. The first thing it tells you is create your database. And then I call those friends. And then I look at them buy or sell, ask them if they know somebody's going to buy or sell. It's really that stuff. 100%. And so, and then it's basically, no one's going to just think, oh, okay, Jeff Creegan's laced this down. Let me just find him a deal. It's just, no one's thinking like that. So what's, you guys, so you have to plant the seed immediately. So you guys say, Jeff, if you know anyone, please refer to me.
Can you tell we've read similar books and what's think this?
It's it. I literally said the exact same thing. I would say the reverse. I go, Jeff Creegan didn't wake up thinking about how can I get a loan to manual today? And we say literally it's the exact same stuff. So it's really cool. Like I love sitting back and like as I listen to you speak, I can tell you've been coached. And I love that because I like being with professionals, people who take their craft seriously, people who are trying to constantly improve, right? Like we all start from somewhere. And so I appreciate you working with newbies, but do something with yourself. Like that newbie needs to want to get better. Attach yourself. Like I can tell you if I was starting a new career in real estate, I would say, all right, who do I like? Whose personality fits with mine? Or who do I respect? Whose hustle do I like? And let's say if I was a 25-year-old newbie and I wanted to get into real estate, I said, all right, I want to follow Jeff Creegan around. The way that I would approach it, because I'm always wanting to bet on myself. I don't want to salary like I'm betting on myself all day long. I go, Jeff, I'll work for you for free for 90 days. Do whatever you need me to do. At the end of those 90 days, if I can prove to you how much value I've added, can we have a renegotiations about what my value is? And for the most part, unless I'm a problem, like you get 390 days worth of work out of somebody, most of the time that person will say yes, depending on where they are in their career. Right? Like I personally don't want that person here in my office, but I need to go meeting. That's fair. I don't have time to deal with somebody who doesn't know how to do anything. but I'm like, Sip, they want you for this, or someone else may want you for such something. And I just think it's a cool approach to wanting to improve, get better, whatever it is. Loan officers, like, we're going to have an issue. There's a barrier to entry, and they don't, they're not coming in continuously, because the second that interest rates go up, all the refi houses, shut down and things like that. So we'll see. All right. Last question, and we'll get you out of here, Jeff. Prediction for second half of real estate in this year.
I wish I had a crystal ball. Prediction, I have no idea. I'm just gonna keep hustling. I'm just gonna keep.
Doesn't matter. You gotta work hard.
I'm working hard. I'm just staying consistent. I'm gonna keep selling. I'm stay optimistic. I mean, do I wish every year somewhere I was at enough money saved up in investments to go, be in Ischia for the coast of Adriatic Sea? I'm not there yet, So I'm still here grinding in the middle of July. I took some trips, but no, I'm just gonna keep kind of take out opportunity out of fun. Yeah, I was in Rome, Napoli and Ischia about a month ago. And
Is that Croatian?
no, it is. It is It's right off in Napoli, at Naples. So it's Capri, and then it's Ischia, and then it's all these islands right off of Naples. Gorgeous, amazing place.
I've never been in Italy.
No, but I'm doing that.
I have.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
It's amazing.
you to get Spain, like one day we'll be able to afford to go to.
Oh, yeah, after a vacation.
You're a workaholic. Okay. Yeah, I get it. Get it. And then, so that's what happened. I mean, and I deal with, I work with Brian Bowles before, Mark Rucco's now with Compass.
It's got some eating balls eating for
I'm doing great. Selling. Yeah. So, these guys, I used to sit in the office next to Brian Bowles for years. So that really nice. Just kept showing up, man.
That's the key. That's solid. Just keep got.
Set it up. And, Greg Gardone told me, work weekends. So I worked weekends 7 days a week for a long time now.
but I get it. If you're in real estate, there's no way you can't. Yeah, so try to get up at 9 and 5, just not gonna.
No, it doesn't work.
That's why you got it. Real estate. You didn't want a 9 to 5. You stick.
It was sweat deeper drop. I don't know.
I said bring anyone like to travel.
You like to self travel? Yeah, I don't. And I just don't want to do it. I'm not that interested in those.
I don't get baby blue.
Yep. So I'm definitely more. I could get myself to the outgoing point, which would feel like you go have a drink, dude.
You turn.
I could use short. Now I'm in business. I'm in relaxed business school. But I mean,
If you have to go to a networking happy hour for 2 hours, you can turn it on. That's your limit.
somewhat. This. First of all, networking. You're talking about networking event. That's nothing to do with traveling and being in my personal element.
Well, right, but if you don't know anybody, you're kind of we're networking for business, but you're networking for personal. You're talking to strangers because you're not there with anybody. You talk to the bartender, you talk to the server, you talk to the person at the hotel, you talk to
Those people, but nothing like talking to networking people who want something from me.
English alone, that's our core.
We could give French. We get away with some of the countries.
Yeah, I would know that French is not that far off for Italian and Spanish. Who's still French? So I was born in Montreal. So my mom and I just and then they're learning.
I would have to bring in a really ignorant American, but I know it's just French. It's probably all of me. Yeah.
One off, didn't want to come down. Being ripping that is creates, but I listen. It is what it is.
I'm trying to serve everything. That's all I'm getting.
I don't know enough about what the exact details are.
Yeah.
I think that from our perspective, we've got to negotiate the best deals we can, and every other country is to negotiate the best deals they can. It's no different than a buyer and a seller. The buyer wants to pay half of what your listing is, and it's their job to negotiate, and there's nothing wrong with that. So no, I didn't determine what it is, and you don't like it, just something else.
That's one thing that people can, and so they can't take things personal. This is what happens. You got to be a professional, right? Typically, you're selling to me. You're trying to get your business like a professional. This is business, or not? No. Consumers do like you guys have never, they've never done business. They don't know business. Right? And then I'm like, this is ground zero. I'm like, and I take it. So like it's a disrespect. Ridiculous. Like
Bill Johnny was christened right in that room.
they won't get mommy to replace the dishwasher. This what's ridiculous.
Jeff, if somebody wants to have you be their agent for either buy or sell, how is the best way to get hold of you?
Call me up, 561-929-9819, Creegan Realty. You know, you can find me on there. Social media, I'm all over the love it. Out for consultation. I'm looking for prospects, not suspects.
We got the name of the show. We didn't even have to do too much work, so I had to do much work on those anyway. So I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, that's enough whining for one day. We are so happy that you could join us today on Stop Whining About Real Estate. So please, not only listen, but subscribe, follow us, download, share, and if you're feeling it, give us a 5-star review. Hey, and if you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email stopwhining@choicemortgage.com. Thanks so much.